Hello everyone. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good afternoon. It's evening. Yes, 4 o'clock. Okay. So last time, if you remember, we were doing piecewise defined functions, right? We have studied what are the piecewise defined functions and how they look. I hope my voice is clear, right? Good evening. We were discussing what were piecewise defined functions, and in piecewise defined functions, we have four special functions. So let's see what are those functions. The first one is signum function, and it is denoted by SGN of X. Now, SGN of X is divided into three pieces, three categories. That is, first when X less than 0, second when X equal to 0, and third when X greater than 0. Now, if you notice, when the value of X is less than 0, the output is -1. When the value of X is equals to 0, the output is 0. And when the value of X is greater than 0, then the output is 1. What does this mean? This means that whenever I take values of input, that is on the x-axis, which are greater than 0, I will get the output of 1. Whenever I take values which are less than 0, I will get output of -1. So by this classification, we can easily plot the graph of the function, which you can see here. For x greater than 0, this part, the function is always equals to not included. When x equal to 0, the value is 0. See, solid circle means the value is included. And when x is less than 0, on the left hand side of x-axis, the value is -1. So it is a very simple function known as signum function, which basically divides the into three parts. Part 1, x less than 0, part 2, x greater than 0, and part 3, x equals to 0. So now if we talk about domain means the value of input, means the value of x. As you can see here, x is covered from -infinity to +infinity, means the domain is R. And what is the range? Range is the value of output. So what is the value of output? There are only three values, which is -1, 0, and 1. So range is -1, 0, and 1. Only three elements are there in the range of signum function. I hope it is clear. So this is the first function, which is signum function. Now let's move forward and look at second function, which is the most important, and you have heard it so many times from like 10th, 8th, 9th standard, which is known as modulus function or absolute value function. Now, modulus is denoted by vertical lines Hello. Yeah. I didn't got what is the issue, but it's fine. Chalo. If I say, if I say that the f of x is mod of x, which is my function. So if I get the input, which is, let's say, suppose x equals to 2, then what is my output? My output is x itself. So my f of x will be equals to 2. But if I put x equals to minus 2, then my output, which is f of x, is minus x. So minus x, that is minus of minus 2, which is equals to plus 2. So this means that whatever input I give, my output will always be positive. If I give a positive input, output is positive. If I give a negative input, output is again positive. So this is the main logic behind the modulus function. It just says that whatever input you give, output will always be positive. So here, by plotting this, we can plot the graphs of modulus function. It looks like V, where the intersection, where at origin is the point. It looks like the graph V. V means modulus function. So I hope it is clear. Now let's talk about domain. Domain again is values of input, means the values of x. Here x covers the whole real number line, means the domain is all real numbers. And if you can see that modulus only gives positive output, means it will give output which are greater than or equal to 0. So if the outputs are greater than and equal to 0, means the range is also greater than equals to 0, which means range is from 0 to infinity. I hope it is clear. Chalo, so this is the very simple function, which is modulus function. Now the third special function is greatest integer function. Greatest integer function is also known as step function. I'll explain the meaning, but let's go slowly. Greatest integer function. So here also for the greatest integer function, I can give input any value. But let me tell you, the output will only be an integer. I can give input any real numbers. The output will only be an integer. That's why it is called integer function. Now, what is meant by this greatest? So let us see. It is best explained with example. If I take a greatest integer function, which is denoted by box of x, like square bracket x, means greatest integer function. So if I give input of 2.1 to the greatest integer function, what will be my output? My output I know will be an integer. But let's see what integer I'll get. So my integer will be the greatest integer, which is less than or equals to the input. Hear me again. Output will be the greatest integer, which is less than or equal to the input. So best way I understand it is by using the number line. Let's just use the number line and plot 2.1. So 2.1 पहले वाला इंटीजर क्या होगा 2. 2.1 के बाद वाला इंटीजर 3. So according to the definition, it says greatest input. I need to look integer which is less than my input. So what is the integer less than my input? It is 2. So my answer is 2. That is output is 2. Let us take one more example to be very clear on this. So if I say greatest integer of 4.5, that means I usually plot it on a number line. Here it is 4.5. What is the number left side? 4. Right side पे कौन सा होगा? 5. Greatest integer less than input. So input is 4.5. The integer less than input is 4. So I hope it is clear. Let's take one more example. It's a bit tricky example, but let me check how much did you understood this. So suppose I take the greatest integer, which is like I take input as negative. So if I take greatest integer of minus 2.3. So here where it gets some tricky, you just need to apply some common sense. That is, we just plot on the number line minus 2.3. Now we are on the negative side. So don't forget, left side pe jo number hoga, that will be minus 3. And right side pe it will be minus 2. So greatest integer less than or equals to input. This is my input, less than greatest integer, that is minus 3. So my output will be minus 3. Got it? So for negative numbers or positive numbers, it is very simple. Just plot. Just plot the number line and see the greatest integer which is less than that number. So now let's talk about the technical definition. This is so I explained you the values, how to get values of the greatest integer. So technical definition में the greatest integer is split into many infinite parts. Like हमने देखा सिग्नम कितने पार्ट्स में डिवाइडेड था? 3. 1, 2 and 3. 1, 2 and 3. मॉड्यूलस कितने पार्ट में था? 2. Similarly, greatest integer is divided into infinite parts. Now let's see what are those parts. It says that if the input is between 0 to 1, output is 0. If the input is between minus 1 to 0, output is minus 1. If the input is between minus 2 to minus 1, output is minus 2. And you can continue so on. Now let's see if the input is 1 to 2, answer is 1. If the input is 2 to 3, output is 2. And you can continue again. So this is in infinite parts में divide हो रहा है ये. So let us understand this. यहाँ पे x 0 और 1 के बीच में है. तो 0 और 1 के बीच में हम लोग कौन सा भी एक नंबर लेंगे, उससे कम वाला इंटीजर will always be 0. You can see it on the number line. If I take any number between 0 to 1, any number, उससे कम वाला इंटीजर is 0. Therefore, any number between 0 to 1 will give me answer 0. Similarly, अगर मैं कोई भी नंबर 1 और 2 के बीच में लूं, 1 और 2 के बीच में, तो my answer will be 1. So that is only it is saying 1 और 2 के बीच में इनपुट लिया तो आउटपुट क्या आ गया? 1. So that is the basic technical definition of greatest integer function, which is step function. And just as modulus function is read as mod of x, step function is read as step of x. Modulus function is read as mod of x. Step function is read as step of x. Okay. So again, domain, as we have seen, domain to pura real number line hai, pura real number line. And range means output. Output is only gives output as integral values. So range is I. Integers, only integers. Now, if suppose there is one important property highlighted here, as you can see, that means greatest integer of x plus n. I can write it as terms to integers. That is, suppose let's say for example, someone asks me to find greatest integer of 2.3 plus 1. So I can use it in, I can do it in two ways. Either I can do it directly. अभी इसको ऐड करना तो कितना सिंपल है. I can do directly as step of 3.3. Now, if I see on the number line, here is 3.3, left में 3, right में 4, less than वाला देखना है, मतलब answer will be 3. Or else I can use this property. Here, x की जगह पे 2.3 है, n की जगह पे 1 है, which is an integer. So I can write this as step of 2.3 plus 1. And what is step of 2.3? If I take 2.3 here, left में कौन है? 2, right में कौन है? 3. मुझे कम वाला देखना है, which is 2. This is basically 2 plus 1, which is again 3. Both the answers come as 3. But here I have highlighted this property because ये property question में बहुत ज्यादा important है. यहाँ पे example में तो मैंने खाली use करना सिखाया है. But if this property comes in question, then we'll see how most important it is used. Okay. Chalo. I hope greatest integer function is clear. So let's move on to the last function, which is fractional part function. Now, fractional part function is nothing else, but before doing fractional part function, let me tell you one thing. Any number, any real number, suppose I take 3.2, can be written as an integral value plus a I hope you know the difference. What is a proper fraction? Proper fraction means a fraction when converted into decimal gives answer between 0 to 1. That is basically 0 point वाले सब numbers. जो भी number 0 point वाले होते हैं 0.1, 0.2, 0.85, 0.35, 0.95 and all, those are called proper fractions. So any real number can be written into two parts. First is the integral part and second is the fractional part, or as we like to say proper fraction, 0 point wale numbers. So you will not believe the greatest integer function and the fractional part function both are derived from this. Now, greatest integer function or step of 3.2 is the integral value, which is 3, as you can see, and fractional part function, which is denoted by curl brackets of 3.2 will be equal to the fractional part, which is 0.2. So this is the logic behind these two functions, the greatest integer or step function and the fractional part function. The step function gives the integral value, while the fractional part function gives the proper fraction value. Proper fraction means, again, I would like to say it is between 0 to 1, 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, and so on. So I hope this fractional part function is very clear to you. So basically, the definition says any real number x can be written as an integral part, which we have seen is step of x, plus fractional part. This is my relation. From here, I can write fractional part of x as, isko left mein bhej do, x minus step of x. So this is the definition of fractional part of x and denoted by curl brackets. Step is denoted by square brackets, right? So if someone now asks me or gives me a number which is 4.8 and asks me two things. First is the integral part, which is step of 4.8. It's very simple. It is 4. And second, they can ask the fractional part of 4.8. So what is the fractional part of 4.8? It is 0.8. Please remember, fractional part should be between 0 to 1. So once we go on the negative side, suppose let's take an example. How can I write the number minus 7.2 as two parts? This way, integer one means it should be positive. So I cannot write it as minus 7 minus 0.2 because here 0.2 is negative, which is not allowed. So I can write it as here where it gets somewhat tricky, minus 8 plus 0.8. Please check this. Here, this fractional part is between 0 to 1 and minus 8 is an integer. So this only you have to take care. For negative numbers, the fractional part is somewhat tricky, but if you understand the basics, you will be very easy to go. So if someone asks me for 7 - 7.2, step of fractional part of minus 7.2 is 0.8. I hope it is clear. Here again, I have taken two examples. So basically, in these examples, we have used the definition of fractional part. That is, fractional part is equals to x minus step of x. So if someone asks me the fractional part of 4.8, what can I say? Fractional part of 4.8, it is 4.8 minus step of 4.8. And step of 4.8, we are very familiar. 4.8, लेफ्ट में कौन है 4, राइट में कौन है 5, लेस देन वाला देखना है which is 4. तो step of 4.8 is 4, तो 4.8 minus 4 is 0.8. So if you follow the definition, you will not get stuck for negative numbers here. I hope it is clear. So let's see another example. Minus 7.1 पूछा. So minus 7.1 means x minus step of x. So minus 7.1 minus step of minus 7.1. So minus 7.1 को नंबर लाइन पे प्लॉट किया. लेफ्ट में कौन सा इंटीजर है प्लीज? -8. राइट में -7, मुझे तो कम वाला चाहिए तो -8. So इसका आंसर इज -8. And here minus minus plus. So 8 minus 7.1 is 0.9. So fractional part is 0.9. So these four functions are defined as special functions because you saw what are the specialities in this. Let me revise again. What were the four special functions? Signum function, modulus, step of x, and fractional part of x. Out of which the last two, step of x and fractional part of x, are basically integer and fractional part. I hope it is clear. Now let's solve some questions based on these four special functions. So if we go into the questions, okay. So before going into the questions, let me tell you one thing. Key, for modulus function, we basically use a definition. Like we split the modulus function always into two parts. We split the fractional part function by the definition x minus step of x and so on. You'll understand when we'll do the question, but just let me tell you, use the definition of the function. Don't try to get direct answers. So if I take this example, now starting me, I've taken very simple examples. So let's see. Okay. Here f of x is given 2 mod x plus 3x. Then we have to find the value of f of 2. f of 2 find करना very simple. क्या करना है? x की जगह पे 2 रख दो. तो 2 into mod of 2 plus 3 into 2. We know modulus of any number is always positive number. So I will get 2 into 2 plus 6, which is 10. Second, they have asked f of -5. So f of -5, 2 into mod of -5 plus 3 into -5. Now, what is mod of -5? 2 into it is 5 itself, because modulus always gives positive answer. -15. So this is 5 to the 10 minus 15, which is -5. Okay. Let's I hope it is clear. Let's take the next example. Next is for step of x. So here f of x is 4 step of x minus 3. It is given square bracket x is the greatest integer function, or else as we like to call it, step function. So first is f of 7.2 means x की जगह पे 7.2 रख दो तो 4 into step of 7.2 minus 3. If you have any confusion, just plot 7.2. लेफ्ट में कौन आएगा 7, राइट में 8, लेस देन वाला देखना है, मतलब आंसर इज 7. So this is basically 4 into 7 minus 3. 7 4s are 28 minus 3. It is 25. नेक्स्ट सेकेंड बी में हम लोग को पूछा है एफ ऑफ -5/2. हियर एक हिंट दूंगा, वन हिंट आई वुड लाइक टू से कि इसको इन डेसिमल में कन्वर्ट कर लो. डेसिमल में इट विल लुक लाइक -2.5. सो एक्स की जगह पे -2.5. सो 4 into -2.5 -3. नाउ -2.5 का स्टेप क्या होगा, -2.5 ऑन द थर्ड पे -2 लेस देन -3. So this is 4 into -3 that is -12 -3 -12 -3. Please don't make mistakes here in signs. It is -50. So I hope it is clear to you all this question. This is a basic, just like a warm-up question we can say, so that we just brief what are the how to use the functions and their definition. I hope it is clear, right? So next, now here the third is obviously of fractional part. So as I said कि फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट में जब भी क्वेश्चन है प्लीज यूज इट्स डेफिनेशन, तो क्या मिस्टेक होने का चांसेस कम है. तो फ्रैक्शनल पार्ट का डेफिनेशन I can write fractional part of x as x minus step of so ये एक बार यहाँ पे यूज कर लो, you will get a same answer. So if I write, my f of x will be 2 into x minus step of x plus 5x. Bracket open करो, so we will get 2x minus 2 into step of x plus 5x. ये 2x और 5x क्या हो जाएगा 7x. 2 step of x. Now it becomes simpler. So let's see. First उसको चाहिए f of -2 -1 minus 2 into step of -1. So here it's very, please note, यहाँ पे -1 is itself an integer. -1 is itself an yeah. So where were we? -1 is itself an integer. So no need to look on the left hand side. There is no need to look on the left hand side. So that is left hand side पे देखने की जरूरत नहीं. -1 का इंटीग्रल पार्ट क्या होगा? If you think logically, -1 का इंटीग्रल पार्ट क्या होगा? खुद -1. So this is basically 7 into -1 is -7 and -2 into -1. Please don't make a mistake in sign. -7 plus 2, which is equals to -5. Very simple. Answer is -5. Again, next is f of 1/4. Again, what is the hint? खाली इसको किस में कन्वर्ट कर लो? You can convert it into point form, decimal form. So this is 1/4 is 0.25. Now x की जगह पे क्या रख दो? 0.25. So if I input 0.25, I will get 7 into 0.25 minus 2 into step of 0.25. So 7 into 0.25, 25 sevens are 1.75, I think. माइनस हियर इसका पता नहीं चल रहा है तो 0.25 ये इंटीजर नहीं है, इसके लेफ्ट में कौन आएगा? 0, राइट में 1. आई नीड द लेस वन, तो इट इज 0. इट इज माइनस 2 into 0. 2 into 0 is 0. तो आंसर इज 1.75. आई होप इट इज क्लियर नाउ. 1.75. So now this is the warm-up questions are done. Let's move on to how we get actual questions. Okay. So this is the main part, or the part where something we need to do. Like if we remember the definition of the function, it will get very simple. So let's solve part A. रिमेंबर मैंने बोला था कि अगर मॉड्यूलस फंक्शन आया तो प्लीज यूज इट्स डेफिनेशन. प्लीज यूज इट्स डेफिनेशन. सो द डेफिनेशन ऑफ mod x is mod x equals to x for x greater than equals to 0 and it is equals to minus x for x less than 0. So use this definition. Here हमारे पास x की जगह पे कौन है? x plus 4. So no issues. Let's use x plus 4 in place of x. So what I'll get is mod of x plus 4 will be equal to x, means x plus 4. If x plus 4 is greater than or equals to 0, meaning x is greater than or equals to minus 4. And it will be equal to minus. Please don't make a mistake here of putting the bracket. Minus x plus 4. If x plus 4 is less than 0, meaning x is less than minus 4. Now, I hope you didn't get confused here, because Khali, what we have done here, we have just substituted the definition in the definition. x की जगह पे खाली x plus 4 substitute कर दिया उसकी definition में, तो we get this. अगर x 4 minus 4 से ज्यादा है तो x plus 4 minus 4 से कम है, तो minus bracket x plus 4. So this means I might need more space here. Okay, so we'll do the next question on the next page. No worries. Let's ignore this question for now. Okay. Yeah. So now उसने कितने पार्ट में डिवाइड किया? 2 पार्ट में. एक x greater than equals to minus 4, एक x less than minus 4. So let me guess, we have 2 cases here. The case 1. Case 1 में x is greater than or equals to minus 4. If x is greater than or equals to minus 4, what is mod of x plus 4? It is x plus 4. So here I can write mod of x plus 4 as x plus 4 greater than or equals to 5. So I will get 4 both side. So x is greater than equals to 5 minus 4, which means x is greater than equals to 1. ये तो मेरा आंसर आया from where? From case 1. Now we all know what is case 2. Case 2 is x is less than 4. Now see, अगर x less than 4 है तो mod of x minus 4 का वैल्यू क्या है? Minus times x plus 4. So if I use this in the equation, my equation will be minus times x plus 4 greater than equals to 5. So minus open करो तो minus x minus 4 greater than equals to 5. Minus x को वो साइड भेजो, 5 को ये साइड. तो minus 4 minus 5 greater than or equals to x. मैं खाली ऐसा ऐसा रीड कर रहा हूँ उल्टा. So if I read the inequality from right hand side, I will get x is less than equals to -4 -5. That means x is less than equals to -9. That is, x can be greater than equals to 1 or x can be less than equals or equal to. कैसे हो गया? Sorry, equal to नहीं था ना? There was no equal to. Okay, no issues. Right. So यहाँ पे x can be greater than equals to 1 या फिर -9 से कम भी चलेगा. So if I want to combine these both answers, you must have learned it in sets. So I can write x belongs to -9 से कम, means -9 to, sorry, minus infinity to -9 union 1 से ज्यादा. 1 पे कैसा ब्रैकेट आएगा? Square bracket. 1 to infinity. So my final answer will be this. That is, x belongs to -infinity to -9 union 1 to infinity. So that is what I was telling ki whenever mod ka question comes, please use its definition and it will always split into how many cases? 2 cases. If there is one mod, then it will be split into 2 cases. There are examples or there are problems where we have multiple mods. We'll discuss this if we got the time today. There are multiple mods. So for multiple mods, there will be multiple cases. But for a single mod, there will only be 2 cases. Case 1 and case 2. I hope it is clear. It's not a bit tricky, but just you need practice with this. Okay. So for this, let's take a new page. What was the question? Step of. Okay, first let me. Yeah. Chal. What was the question? The question was step of x plus step of x plus step of x. Very interesting question is equals to 9. And I need to solve this. Solve करना मतलब x की value find करनी. अभी, do you remember वो एक property थी? That property is useful here now. You will see the advantage of this property. Step of x plus n can be written as step of x plus n if n is an integer. And we all know that step of x is always an integer. Step of x is always an integer. So please look here. This is step of x. That means I can consider it as n. Why n? Because it is always an integer. So I can write this equation as this whole bracket as this bracket. That is, I can write step of x plus step of x, the whole x, as step of x plus step of x. Please understand this. खाली n की जगह पे स्टेप ऑफ x आ गया है. द फॉर्मूला इज द सेम. खाली n की जगह पे कौन आ गया है? स्टेप ऑफ x. एंड वी नो स्टेप ऑफ x प्लस स्टेप ऑफ x इज 2 स्टेप ऑफ x. अरे एक ही चीज को 2 बार ऐड करूंगा तो ट्वाइस हो जाएगा. सो नाउ माय क्वेश्चन विल बिकम स्टेप ऑफ x प्लस 2 स्टेप ऑफ x is equals to 9. Now I will use the same property again, that is step of x तो integer है और अगर कोई integer को I multiplied with 2 तो भी integer ही रहेगा. 2 से multiply कोई integer को multiply किया, it becomes an integer itself. So this is basically now my mu n. So if I substitute in this formula, खाली n की जगह पे कौन आ जाएगा? 2 step of x. So therefore, now my equation will become step of x plus 2 step of x is equals to 9. Right? Now, step of x plus 2 step of x, again 3 step of x is equals to 9. So 3 को उधर लेके जाऊंगा तो डिवाइड हो जाएगा. Step of x will be equal to 3. Very good question. अगर स्टेप ऑफ एक्स 3 है, प्लीज रिमेंबर हम लोग को स्टेप ऑफ एक्स का वैल्यू फाइंड नहीं करना है, एक्स का वैल्यू फाइंड करना है, एक्स का. इफ आई वांट टू फाइंड द वैल्यू ऑफ एक्स, स्टेप ऑफ एक्स इज 3, व्हाट कैन बी द वैल्यू ऑफ एक्स? उल्टा सोचना है, उल्टा. दैट इज माय आउटपुट इज 3. What will be my input? That is what will be the my value of x. I am giving you 10 seconds just so you can think what can be the value of x. Okay. I hope you have all thought. अगर मुझे आउटपुट 3 चाहिए, सो 3 और 4 इंटीजर्स है. अभी 3 और 4 के बीच में जो भी नंबर्स होंगे उसका आउटपुट क्या होगा? 3. That means x can be any number between 3 and 4. So x belongs to close 3 से 4 open. close 3 क्यों लगाया? क्योंकि x अगर 3 है, अभी एक्सप्लेन किया था ना, x 3 है तो 3 से नीचे वाला इंटीजर देखने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज 3 itself is an integer. So no meaning of saying integer less than 3 because 3 itself is an integer. So अगर मुझे कोई step of x की वैल्यू 3 देता है, so my input will be the numbers between 3 and 4. Similarly, if I ask step of 5, step of x is equals to 5. So क्या क्या मेरे नंबर्स होंगे? 5 और 6 के बीच में आने वाले सब नंबर्स मेरे को आउटपुट देंगे 5. तो इसका मतलब x belongs to 5 to 6. Very simple. Let's take another interesting example. Step of x equals to -2. Step of x equals to -2. So if I think -2 आंसर कौन देगा? यहाँ पे -1 आएगा. जो भी नंबर्स -2 और -1 के बीच में है, इसका मतलब x will be -2 to -1. I hope it is clear. These examples are very good. It should be clear. Okay. So now after this, let's proceed into this C part, third question. Now it is very simple for us because let me tell you what we have followed. If whenever I see a fractional part, I will use its definition, which is x minus step of x. So just use the definition in the question. I will get 2 bracket x minus step of x is equals to x plus step of x. Bracket open. 2x minus 2 into step of x is equals to x plus step of x. अभी लाइक टर्म्स मीन सेम दिखने वाले साथ में ले लो. सो x को आई एम ब्रिंगिंग टू द लेफ्ट. सो 2x माइनस x और ये इसको वो साइड. तो 2 स्टेप ऑफ x प्लस स्टेप ऑफ x. तो 2x minus x is equals to 3 step of x. I hope I didn't made a mistake here. Okay. नहीं, नो मिस्टेक. चलो, सो ये इक्वेशन आया है. नाउ आई हैव टू गिव द वैल्यूज ऑफ x which satisfies this equation. So I am giving you 30 seconds. ले लो, चलो please just concentrate on the board and think about what values of x can I get, right? What values of x can I get? Okay, okay. Let me make it this way. If I can write the equation as step of x equals to x upon 3. Now it will be somewhat easier to think. Please note now. See, step of x is x upon 3. We know that step of x always gives integral answers. Integral answers means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6. So that means if step of x gives integral answers, so x upon 3 should also give integral answers. That means x upon 3 should be an integer. And there are infinite integers. So that means I can write x upon 3 can be minus infinity से क्या क्या इंटीजर आएंगे -2 -1 0 1 2 कहाँ तक infinity तक. Okay, so these are all my integers from minus infinity to plus infinity, and x upon 3 should be an integer. Why? Because x upon 3 is equals to step of x, and step of x is an integer. Okay, अभी मुझे x का वैल्यू चाहिए, so we just cross multiply 3. So if I cross multiply 3, x will belong to -3 को infinity से multiply किया तो क्या ही फर्क पड़ता है, माइनस इंफिनिटी रहेगा वो. Now -2 will become -6, -1 will become -3, 0 will be 0, 3, 6 और infinity को भी 3 से multiply कर रहा है तो क्या फर्क पड़ेगा. So my x will be all the multiples of 3. मतलब basically 3 का table. 3, 6, 9, 12, 6, 15, sorry, 15, 18, 21 और negative side पे -3, -6, -9, -12 and so on. So this was a good question. What will be the values of x? All the multiples of 3 from minus infinity to plus infinity. Okay. So let's now questions are over and functions is completed. So from tomorrow, okay, from tomorrow we will be going to starting with trigonometry. I hope you are familiar with trigonometry. There is only one request. If I will teach the formulas of trigonometry. कौन से formulas? Compound angles, allied angles, multiple and submultiple, और factorization and defactorization. ये सब formulas खाली पढ़ के आना, because if we are going to do questions tomorrow on trigonometry, obviously we will revise the formulas, no issues. But from your side, I want just कि ये चार चीज पढ़ के आना. If you want, you can note down compound angles, allied angles, multiple, submultiple, and factorization, defactorization. So we can just go through the formulas and then we can revise. We can revise. Or sorry, we can revise the formulas and then we can go to the question. So tomorrow, I hope we will revise the formula in 15 minutes or so, and then next 45 minutes we'll do only question. Because trigonometry is a very important chapter. Many questions come from trigonometry. So my focus will be to do how to do problem solving, how to solve trigonometric problems. So it would be very helpful if you just all revised the formulas of trigonometry. There are only 4: compound, multiple, submultiple, allied angles, and factorization and defactorization. Okay, so and okay, so we are done with fraction special functions. Let yeah, you can look at the board and you can simply revise the function. In the last 5 minutes we have, I will just change the slides somewhat in 30 seconds, so you can see what we have done today. So first we have done signum function. Signum is the most simplest function, only gives output -1, 0, 1. -1 if x is less than 0, 0 if equal to 0, and 1 if x is greater than 0. This is the graph. So domain is R because x is taking all the values, and range is -1, 0, 1 because the output is only -1, 0, and 1. Okay. Absolute value modulus, again very simple. It breaks into two parts. First is greater than equals to 0, less than 0. As we have seen, हर बार x की जगह पे x नहीं होगा. It can be x square. It can be, as we have seen, x plus 4. So x कुछ फर्क नहीं पड़ता है, खाली वहां पे x की जगह पे x square या x plus 4 रख दो. So basically two definition. Domain range is very simple. Modulus always gives positive output. Next is greatest integer function. This is a definition, but मैं डेफिनेशन याद रखने नहीं बोलता हूँ ग्रेटेस्ट इंटीजर की, बिकॉज उसको लॉजिकली समझना बेटर है ज्यादा. सो इफ वी डू दिस लॉजिकली, that I explained, just think of the number line and get the number which is less than that, get the integer which is less than that number. Bas. And this is a very important property. As we have seen, we have solved a question on this. Very good questions comes on this. After this, acha, graph. Step of x ka graph. How is step of x ka graph? The name step, it comes from as CD. Na? So if you see the graph, they look like stairs. The blue lines and the black lines. Blue lines are just for highlighting that they looks like stairs. The graph is actually these black lines. So if you see the graph of greatest integer function, it looks like steps. CD chal raha na वैसे. That's why it is called step function. So it looks like a stairs. So it is step function. So graph looks like this. All the black lines. It can continue here. As we know, it will go till infinity and so on. And it can continue backward. Lastly, we did fractional part function. Here, any real number can be written into two parts, an integral part and a proper fraction, meaning between 0 to 1. So the integral part gives the greatest integer function, step function. The fractional part gives the fractional part function. It is in the name only, fractional part. Let's convert the fractional part function into its definition here. X minus step of x. So it will be easy to solve. Okay. So these are all the functions. I am done for today. As requested, we are going to start with trigonometry. Just revise the formula. I hope you'll revise the formula. Okay. We'll end our session here. So I hope to see you again tomorrow. All you got something from this lecture. I hope you understood something more about the special function. Okay. Chalo. Bye bye, everyone. Tata. We'll meet tomorrow. Tomorrow we have a morning question. Okay. Morning session, if you know. Okay. Bye bye. Ha, bus. I have a next lecture from 5 to 6. That 5. Chalo. Bye bye.